Alright guys, in this video I'm going to go over the different keyword match types in Google Ads and what that actually means and how to use them for your campaigns. So the first thing you need to understand is that there are three different types of keywords in Google Ads. They're called broad match, phrase match, and exact match. Now basically what this means is how closely does somebody need to search a keyword to the keyword you've set for your ad to show. So let me give you an example. If we were, let's say we wanted to advertise a plumbing business in Sydney and it would be like Plumbers Sydney. So we put the keyword in Plumbers Sydney. How closely does somebody need to type something in for that ad to show? So let's say for instance, if they typed in plumber in Sydney, would your ad show? If they typed in best plumbers in Sydney, if they typed in plumber and then a suburb of Sydney, would your ad show? All these different things are dependent on what keyword match type you use. So there are three types of keyword match type that you need to be aware of. One is exact match, one is phrase match, and one is broad match. You can see the three here I put here as an example. Now, these are going to dictate how closely someone needs to type in a keyword to see your ad dependent on the keyword you've put in here. So for instance, using the example we just said, if our keyword is plumber Sydney and we set that to exact match, in theory, the person should have to type in the exact keyword plumber Sydney in order to actually see our ad. If you were to put the keyword plumber Sydney and you put it to phrase match, your ad would show if they put a phrase that included the keyword plumber Sydney. So if someone typed in, let's say for instance, best plumber Sydney or top plumber Sydney or local plumber Sydney, something along those lines, your ad would show if you put it on phrase match. Now, if you put it on broad match, basically that gives Google free reign to show your ad for anything it thinks is related to plumbers in Sydney. Now, what I've just told you are theories on how it should work, and that's not exactly how it actually works, but that's what it's supposed to do. What you need to be aware of is that exact match is more closely related to phrase match, and then phrase match is kind of like a loose phrase match, and then broad match is just really broad, and I very rarely recommend using broad match personally. But you need to be aware of how these three different types work, because what you select here is going to dictate what your ad's going to show for. So what you need to be aware of with this is, are there any variations of keyword that would show that are not related to your ad but are similar? So you need to be aware of these things, because for instance, if somebody is searching something like cheap plumber Sydney and you don't want to do cheap jobs, you don't want to show up when someone searches cheap plumber Sydney as an example, or like free something, or how to do X when you're trying to sell that thing, and they're trying to do it DIY, for instance. You need to be aware of these and make sure that you're using the correct match type so that your ad doesn't show for the wrong thing. Now, this also applies to negative keywords as well. So if we go into negative keywords, you also have match types for these. Now, for these, you have the same thing as well, the phrase match, broad match, and exact match of negatives. These work largely the same as the actual keywords, just with negative keywords. So they will exclude whatever you put in here, the phrase. So if a phrase contains that word, or if it's an exact match, that exact keyword, things like that, works in the same way, just reversed by excluding them. So you can use that same principle here. Now, in order to change these, if you've already got a keyword in your list, there's a few ways you can do it. You see here under match type, you got this drop down. You can select one of these other ones and change this keyword to, let's say for instance, phrase match by selecting the drop down. You can also select all of the keywords, go edit, change match type, and select all of them to, let's say for instance, exact match. And now that would change all of these keywords to exact match, as you can see here. Now, one other thing is when you're adding keywords, you would hit this, and now in order to add them with the different match types, what you would do is for broad match, you would just type the keyword in here, so broad match. If you want to add a phrase match, you want to put speech marks around it, so phrase match, and then this will add it as a phrase match keyword, and I'll show you that in a second. And if you want to add an exact match, you would put the square bracket, so you'd go square bracket, exact match, close it, and then you would hit save. And now I'll show you, these will show up. You can see here, exact match, phrase match, and broad match. So that's how you add them with the different types in the Google Ads account. So that's a general summary of what the different keyword match types are and what they do. If you have any questions, put a comment below and I will answer them. Otherwise, if you'd like me to coach you on how to run your Google Ads campaign and do SEO for only $49 a month, go to learndominatemarketing.com. And if you'd like us to run your Google Ads for you or do SEO, go to dominatemarketing.io, book a call with us there. Catch you on the next one.